Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple table to insert into this scene. To do this, we're going to use the family editor and explore some of the functionality that exists in there. So starting off, we'll just click on the R button up here and create a new family. This brings up a dialog here where you can see a whole bunch of template files available to us for creating doors and whatnot. The one we're interested in is the furniture, a nice simple template there that we can utilize. So click on that, click on open, and it brings up the standard family editor dialog. Now when you get in here, you'll notice that it's pretty much a cut down version of the standard interface. So we have a bunch of creation tools here for extrusions, blending, revolving, and sweeps. We also have some insert functionality so we can bring in images and whatnot. We have annotate functionality available to us here for dimensioning up and putting in text as needs be. And we also have a manage tab which will show us things like materials and other types of functionality we're going to explore. So to start off, what I'm going to do is create the top of the table using the extrusion functionality. It's going to be a very simple, basic 4-leg flat tabletop. So clicking on the extrusion button here brings up our standard editing tools here, and copy and all the rest are all there. So what I'm going to do is use the rectangle tool, start in here, and just drag this out to 500 by a meter as a start point. So click on that and create, finish. Okay. Now if we have a quick look at this in a 3D view, so default 3D, first thing you notice is that this is, well, it's all very thick, so what we can do is change the scaling of that to 1 to 10, which might be a little bit better for our uses here. Now having a look at that, we can see that it's, well, it doesn't work too well as a tabletop because it's way too thick. So we can change that by selecting the object here and changing the extrusion constraints associated with it. So currently it's starting at 0 and moving out to 250. So what I can do is change that to simply 25 to represent 25 millimeters and apply it. So that looks a little bit better, and we can run with that for the moment. In your browser you'll see you have the ref plane, which is the plan view. You have a ceiling plan there indicated as well. We also have elevations front and back and all the rest. So we can have a look at those, and you can flick through them there. You can see them. So we're going to be using those again in a moment. So into the reference level, or the basic plan view, what we're going to do is put some simple circular legs underneath this. So I'm going to do that again by using the extrusion tool, clicking on the create button, clicking on extrusion, and this time I'm going to select the circle tool. So I'll click on that, and I'll just pop one in there at about 40 millimeters. Now I'm not doing this terribly accurately. It would make sense to actually dimension this up correctly. So in goes all of these, back to 40, and finish that. So well, we seem to have our legs in place. Let's have a quick look at this in a 3D view, and the table is either upside down or we need to move up the tabletop to make it work. Now a very simple way to move the tabletop up is to change the extrusion parameters associated with the tabletop itself. So if we look at that, we have it starting at 0 and ending at 25. So a quick check and let's see what the height of the legs are. And the legs are currently 250. I'm going to push those to 450 by hitting that, so that extends those up. And now what I'm going to do is change this tabletop here so that it starts at, let's see, 400 and ends at 425. So again, you can see what happens there when I do that. Up comes our table. So that's looking reasonably okay for the moment. And what we can do then is save that as a new object or load it directly into a live project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this straight in to our project I should say. And there it is. So I can just click down and we now see it. So if I just change this into a 3D view again, there we go, brand new table. Okay, a couple of things you'll notice about this. First of all, there isn't any materials associated with it. It's grayed out and nasty. So what we can do is define the materials in the family editor itself. So I'm going to flick back into the family editor and have a look at the materials that we can apply to this. So what I'm going to do is make these legs chrome and the tabletop itself glass. So what I'm going to do is go into my Manage tab and click on Materials. Let's see what we have in here. So currently, yep, we have glass is loaded by default in this template, so I might as well use that. So I can select this object here and go over to the materials and finish associated with it and change that to glass and click OK. So the next thing I want to do is change the material associated with the legs to some sort of chrome finish. So I can do that by again going back into the Manage tab, clicking on Materials, and we'll see here we don't actually have a chrome finish. So I'm going to create a new material. So we can use this button here, so it creates and duplicates materials. So use the drop down, create new material, and give it a useful name. So I'm going to rename this to Chrome and hit enter. Now I don't have a default material or any of this other stuff, so really we can start deleting this out if we want to as well. So right click over those, delete, delete that, delete the roof, delete that as well. So I'm just left with two materials here, chrome and glass. So currently Chrome doesn't have any definition to it. We can see there that it's all grayed out and looking at that. So what I can do is open up the Acid browser by clicking this button here and going and finding a suitable material from the library. So it's going to open this out, click on metal, and somewhere in here I should have something which will look reasonably like chrome. So I've got chrome polished black or straight up polished. So I'm going to select this. I'm just going to double click on it. What that'll do is change the appearance of my material to this one here. So we now have that look in there. It's type chrome, it's polished. Looking at the graphics there, currently it's going to show that in a shaded view. I can select the rendered appearance there, but it doesn't really do much for it. It's just going to be white, so it's going to leave it as a default at 120, so it was. So 120, 120 in each of the RGB channels. Click OK, so that just sends that back to where it was. And now I'm going to click Apply and click OK on this. So now I have my chrome material in. I can select my legs of the table, and now under Material I can apply all of those by clicking on Chrome and clicking OK. So I'm going to save this again back into the project. So sorry, modify extrusion, I don't need that live. Load into project there. So it's going to ask me now, do I want to overwrite the existing parameter value? So let's do everything. And hopefully now when I look at my table, you'll see here it's showing the glass top on it, which is exactly what we wanted. So right, I'm going to stop it there.